above. Is that right? I mean, you're going to cut down study halls as a result of probably, but you're not going to eliminate the extra study halls in Priority 1? And, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Priority two is focused on the time.
Wednesdays.
Well, that's part of the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Anyone
And
else?
one would eliminate some study halls at the high school? We do one?
There are no study halls at the high school. At the middle school?
I'm sorry, middle school.
No.
Or wouldn't?
Would not.
Any gentleman in the rear? Please identify yourself.
Yeah, my name is Dan Driscoll from McQuaid Drive.
Let's do this. Come on out. We didn't bring the podium over, but stand up near the. No, the camera is over there now, so right here.
Right there, good John.
It was just more of a clarification than a question. It gets to the study hall question that Mr. Dadino, and I want to respectfully disagree with you, Dr. Troutman. It's not 2 study halls. My son is in 6th grade. He has 3 study halls on Tuesdays, followed by the half day on Wednesday. So I have some other comments, but I'll hold them until later. But I just wanted to clarify, it's 3 study halls. He's in 6th grade, and that's what priority 2 comes in. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for the school superintendent? Please come forward.
I'm Deb Spencer, North Street. Why didn't we reinstate foreign language and the cultural thing for the junior high to help with the study halls? Because that's huge for some of these kids, showing them diversity and, you know, cultural things, both those topics.
Just to explain a little bit about the...
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, Mrs. Spencer's question was, why are we not recommending to restore in the middle school a program called International Cultures? So just to educate everyone, because you may not have a middle school youngster, last year our students took 4 core subjects, math and English and science and social studies. And they also took a rotation of 4 courses on a quarter basis. So one quarter of the year they took computers, another quarter of the year they took art, another quarter music, and another quarter international cultures. The 7th and 8th grade students last year also took foreign language, either French or Spanish in the 7th and 8th grade. And the 6th grade students took two classes of reading in the 6th grade. They also took physical education twice a week. So it was a fairly full schedule with some study halls. This year, because we pulled out art in grade 6, we pulled out music in grade 8, we pulled out international cultures right across the board for all students. But we increased the number of times a week that the 8th graders took French or Spanish to 4 times a week, and the 7th graders are taking it twice a week. The question for us then about the international cultures, we would like to put it back. However, we've made some priorities here in terms of keeping the foreign language in the 7th and 8th grade, and also restoring the physical education to twice a week, and putting in a health education program, which we feel, again, we don't have a health education program. We think it's critical for middle school students to have a health education program. We feel the International Cultures program, which combined a little taste of foreign language, an introduction, a little introduction to the culture of food, basic foreign language conversation, was something that we would like to put in. However, again, on the list of priorities in tough times, we're saying let's continue to focus and not dismantle our foreign language program, and let's also put in the health education. To the question of that I think Mr. Driscoll asked in terms of the third, one of the changes that we made this year was that last period of the day. It goes by different names. If you have a middle school youngster, it's called either town meeting or G block. On 4 days a week, on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, those students repeat and have an additional class of either math or science or English or social studies. On Wednesday, they have a program called Advisor Advisee, which is a time when students come together with their teacher and they talk about issues that affect middle school youngsters. It might be character education, it might be talking about community service or other kinds of programs. That's on Wednesday afternoon. So on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday and Friday, a 6th grader is going to have the 4 subjects plus a repeated one, an extended one, and they're going to have either a music program for a quarter, technology for a program for a quarter, or they may have a gym class. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check the schedule. I'm not quite sure where the 3rd one comes from. I thought that students only had 2 on a quarter.
What it was is it was exactly the way you portrayed it, but recently, I don't remember if it was the change of the quarter or not, that go back to the other teacher program in G block that was eliminated and a new study was added.
Yes, Mr. Hodges, the middle school principal, informed me that at the quarter break, or actually at the mid-year break, that after talking with the teachers, that he felt that, or the teachers felt, that the students could benefit more from a study period, and that students who needed additional help would receive that. I was very concerned. I talked about how this was not providing direct instruction to all students, and I directed Mr. Hodges to be sure that the students on that G block on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are receiving an extended period of either their English, their math, their science, and social studies. If that's not happening and your children are coming home telling you a different story, you need to call my office.
That hasn't happened.
It hasn't returned?
No.
Okay.
No, Tuesday, my son had 3 study halls.
That should not be happening now.
And I just want to clarify the discussion about study halls, because it kind of implies something that it really isn't. There's about 80 kids with 1 monitor. Okay. That's just not a study hall.
No,
I just want to make sure that people
I'm going to
understand.
have to ask everybody to address themselves to the chair. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm all set, thank you.
Michael?
Just a quick question on Mike Briscoe, 12 Bishop's Way. Priority 1, we talked about a sped investment of $142,000. Does that investment allow us to reduce our cost and investments we're making today on outside services? Or is that just in addition to the services that we pay today for those outside services?
Part of the reason why we're recommending this is that in the long term, we believe that we can keep students in North Reading. We believe that the data supports the fact that when you focus on inclusion, that you will lower your outside costs of private school, special education, and transportation services. So the direct answer is yes.
Do you have a savings by any chance associated with that number, long-term or short-term?
I can tell you that we can point to savings in the budget in special education over the last number of years based on our investment in inclusion. We have established a number of programs at the elementary level, at the middle school level, and the high school, and that has clearly reduced private school tuition. And that's our reasoning for recommending the investment at the elementary level.
Representative Jones is here. And, does anyone have any questions? Mr. Jones. He's been responsible for coming up with funds for this town. And he's done an extraordinary job. Do you have anything to say? No?
There's questions or whatever. Probably the biggest issue, and we addressed it today. I had cause to meet with the chairman on Friday at Town Hall and go over some of the numbers they were relying on for the state. I think one of the things we were able to address was the $167,000 sort of lottery, and whether that was going to hold up. Obviously, there was a tremendous interest in seeing Chapter 70 raised. Unfortunately, from my perspective, we adopted a local aid resolution today after numerous attempts by myself and some colleagues to amend it unsuccessfully, that essentially codifies or solidifies the numbers that these budget numbers have been predicated on as the way that is going to turn out the FY09 budget. So that the increase that North Reading has built into the budget for Chapter 70 is going to be the increase, and the likelihood for that changing is very, very remote. Because what will likely happen in a few weeks is we'll adopt a budget order that says that I can't offer any amendments to try to make those numbers even greater. I've never supported those budget orders in the past, don't intend on starting in the future. So the numbers that we've talked through with the chairman last Friday and the numbers that have been presented tonight are the numbers in terms of local aid. The other areas that could conceivably change maybe is if there's some more money put into special education, the reimbursement and this and that. That's a hard number to predicate because it's a reimbursement, so it sort of follows on a year after. That's very difficult to budget. There is some money in there to increase that. That may have some marginal impact, but I think it's pretty hard to kind of plan on. The only other piece of, I guess I would say, good news that I would share with what I shared with the chairman, one of the issues we've been fighting with, and it doesn't necessarily help us for this budget process because it's not something that's certified, is that we're waiting for a payment from J.T. Berry. The contract was sent to the town last week. It was signed off on, delivered and signed off on. So we're estimating that within the next 3 weeks, the town will get that payment for about $1.2 million, which ultimately, hopefully, will make its way, once it's certified, into the debt stabilization. But I think based on some of what's been laid out by at least the chairman tonight, there are some programs out there that may provide some relief indirectly to the budget. So that's sort of, I would say, the one piece of good news I bring tonight. Obviously, we'll continue on trying to find avenues for money. We tried to add some money in the lottery account, making an argument on snow and ice. We tried to make an understanding that if we took in revenues ahead of expectations this year, there would be a commitment that that money would be shared with cities and towns. And regrettably, we were turned aside each step of the way. But I will say, having served on the board and on the Finance Committee, I appreciate the struggles that go on internally and the important issue that local aid holds for North Reading, and have told the story many times about sort of the circumstance we find ourselves in, and have said, you know, the people I represent are very interested in what I will call educational core and not educational add-ons, and that's where my focus is going to be, trying to bring dollars back to town, and not sort of some of the sort of new visions people have to do other things. Let's do the commitments we have now right, and then we can talk about what else we want to do. So I'll stop and I'll take any questions, Mr. Chairman. And I will say you were a much quieter crowd than I usually speak to the House of Representatives, so I appreciate that.
Okay, I want to move on to the board discussion of where we can find some additional money. But there's a gentleman in the back who may have had a question.
Yeah, first, if you would open it up to tonight and this week, and if there's an override, we're going to be dealing with the issue of this year's finances. But with the ongoing issue of Proposition 2.5 hitting us year after year, and that's being come down from the state, what can be done to to alleviate some of these struggles? I mean, the towns, it's not just North Reading, it's all the towns in the state of Massachusetts. How can come up with a longer-term solution so that so towns can realistically fund the expenses that they're incurring? I mean, with a 5% increase in teacher costs, and you're saying, well, 2.5% override every year. I mean, this just goes on and on. Every year, the town officials in a very big bind. They're supposed to be providing town services, but yet they're not allowed to provide the finances to provide those services. When you say, well, the state will provide, but then you say we provide it from the lottery services. I mean, why are we, putting our finances based upon people's gambling habits? I mean, there's got to be a better, there needs to be a longer-term solution for the entire state of Massachusetts. And so I raise that to you as our state representative, to how do we deal with it? We've got these gentlemen who are trying to take care of this year and working very hard and diligently, but it's getting to a point where the burden is getting